Introducing Loki's family. Nightmare of the gods of Asgard. Children who were the nightmare of the Norse gods. Loki, the trickster god of Norse mythology. Away from the eyes of the gods in his native land, Jotunheim, the land of the giants, had a giant wife named Angerboda, and they had 3 strange and monstrous children. A strange-looking little girl named Hel, a wolf cub named Fenrir, and a small snake named Jormungandr. Odin, the god of gods, like all kings and rulers, was tormented by the nightmare of the destruction of his kingdom and reign, and he dreamed that 3 strange monsters would destroy his life and the gods of Asgard forever. As the gods of Asgard sniffed out Loki's hidden children, Odin immediately remembered his dreams and ordered the 3 strange children imprisoned and exiled. Hel was sent to the icy and dark land of the dead, Jormungandr, to the depths of the ocean. Fenrir, who was a cute wolf cub, was taken care of by the kind and brave Tyr and took on the task of raising him. But after a while, this wolf cub grew so big that it became a huge mountain, and it terrified the inhabitants of Asgard, especially its old ruler, Odin, who ordered that Fenrir, who had committed no wrongdoing, be imprisoned as well. The children of Loki, who had not yet committed a crime, were unjustly condemned and sent into exile, and this led to a deep resentment of the gods of Asgard among Loki's family, which we see in the Norse apocalypse. Ragnarok will serve the gods well. Queen Hel. Hel is the queen of the race of giants, the lord of the world of the same name, the land of the dead. The name Hel means hidden in the Old Norse language, which is a direct reference to the story of Hel's banishment to the hidden land, the underworld of the dead buried underground. Hel is one of 3 children and the only daughter of Loki and his giantess Angerboda, sister of Fenrir and Jormungandr, a member of a dangerous family who are considered the most important threat to the land of the gods. Hel is a half-living, half-dead girl with skin the color of frozen corpses, who has taken on a sad and harsh appearance after being banished to the underworld by Odin's unjust order. The moral characteristics of Cardamom are shown in mythological stories as a violent, cruel, and greedy character. She is described as remarkably indifferent to the issues of other characters, the living and the dead, and even her own family. But unfortunately, little information remains about her stories from Norse literature, and she only has a short role in a few stories. Hel plays an important role in the story of Baldur's death and refuses to give him back to the gods, and in return creates challenges for the gods of Asgard, and finally refuses to give back Baldur, the beloved god of Asgard. Although Hel is introduced in the stories as a goddess of the land of the dead, many historians believe that she was never worshipped as a goddess by the Vikings. Hel's territory. Hel, the land of the dead, is located near the land of ice and darkness, Niflheim, which has a long, winding path to the depths of the earth and is ruled by Lady Hel and her faithful dog Garm. Cardamom is for the dead who have left the world of the living due to illness or old age. However, those who die as a result of the events will have a different fate. Those who are killed in battle with honor go to Valhalla. Those who drown in the sea are taken by a goddess named Dran, the wife of the ocean god Aegir. Another group that enters Hel are those who have committed theft, treason, or crime in their lives and are subjected to torture and torment. However, other dead who enter Hel find favor with the queen and will not suffer torment, and this is well described in the story of Baldur's death. When Baldur reaches Hel, he walks in a land paved with gold, and rivers of clear and cool water flow along his path. Historians have clearly stated that Hel was never a hell for the Norse people, but it was considered the place of life of creatures after passing through the world of the living, from which it is never possible to leave. The Great Serpent of Midgard. Jormungandr. Another rockstar child of Loki's family is a big snake called Jormungandr, which means the dragon or the huge snake of the human world, which is Midgard. Jormungandr is so big that it encompasses the whole land of humans and circles around it. It should be noted that the Vikings saw the world in the form of a big tree or Yggdrasil with flat plates on its branches forming the territories of the 9 lands. Jormungandr is Thor's blood enemy, the son of the gods, who are in front of each other and fight each other in different stories. But the final fight of the two takes place in Ragnarok, and Jormungandr destroys Thor to avenge himself and his siblings. The likes of Bormungandr, a huge or symbolic serpent of Satan, exist in the mythology of almost all civilizations. In Egyptian mythology Apat, in Greek mythology Draconia and Pytho, in Japanese mythology Yamato no, phallic in Arabic mythology, and Ouroboros or tail-eating snake in African mythology, and even the snake in the story of Adam and Eve are similar to Jormungandr in Norse mythology, all of which are symbols they are evil and anti-God because they kill humans and their animals with their poisonous sting. But on the other hand, historians consider mythical snakes as a symbol of changes and growth, which were sometimes worshipped among different civilizations. A talking wolf as big as a mountain, a monster called Fenrir. Fenrir, a small wolf cub who grows up to the size of a huge mountain under Tyr's care, is the last child of Angrboda and Loki, who is trapped and imprisoned by Odin's order and his trust in Tyr. Fenrir is a huge wolf, talkative and so swift that all the gods except Tyr were afraid to be near him, and before he could make a mistake, Odin, who dreamed he would be devoured by a wolf, ordered for protection from the Nine Lands, chain and imprison Fenrir. But the mythological world, like the real world, does not always remain the same and unfair, and in the end Fenrir is freed by the earthquakes of the giants' entry into Asgard and goes to Odin. He, who has grown even bigger in the cage, opens his jaws from the ground to the sky and swallows everything in his way at once. The old ruler of the gods, Odin, is also devoured in the meantime to pay for the troubles he brought to Loki's family. Although in some narrations it is said that Fenrir destroyed the sun and the moon after swallowing Odin, but the more accurate narration indicates that Skull and Hati, the two children of Fenrir, are monsters that run after the chariots of the sun and the moon to devour them and plunge the world into pure darkness. The name Fenrir is composed of the two pots, Fen, the name of a forgotten and ancient monster, and Rear, meaning to run fast, which indicates that the great wolf of Asgard is a huge creature similar to Fen, except that he can run at lightning speed and he turned into a terrible monster. Even though in today's accounts of Norse mythology, Loki and his children, as well as giants, are all considered negative and malevolent creatures. Among the Norse people they have never been introduced as malevolent creatures. They themselves are sometimes worthy of worship and positive beings who fight, and they were enmity with the gods that we know today as positive and kind gods. Creatures like Hel, who takes care of humans and living creatures after passing through the world of life on earth, despite their ugly appearance, are never malicious creatures, but only seek revenge for their family. This is also true of Jormungandr, the symbol of growth and change, and Fenrir, the symbol of power. Their father Loki, despite being mischievous and deceiving the gods of Asgard, has not been hated by the Vikings in any way, because the Vikings consider the chaos and tension he creates in the world and among the captive gods as a natural process in the laws of the world.